Yeah, obviously, tough one. Go on the road, play a solid team. We know they're very well coached. They're not gonna, they played very good defense. We knew that going in. We know they're very balanced in offense. We figured it'd be a low-scoring, close game, and obviously it was when it ends up 13-12. You get 300, I don't know, 380 yards offense. They get 250. You basically hold them, you hold their run game in check. They throw the ball a bunch, don't get a ton. If probably had 170 yards on 30 some pass attempts, and it's just a grind the whole game. It's tight. So we talked about, the two things for us, you had yourself in position for a great road win. The whole game you're in that position is, self-inflicted wounds, stop some drives on offense, put us behind the chains a couple times, and then just miss opportunities. We drove the ball and got the ball in scoring position a bunch. We tried 5 field goals in the game, and if you convert, we were down there a 6th time. I mean, if you convert 1 into a touchdown, you win the game. So it wasn't like we didn't get our opportunity. It wasn't like, okay, we played Army, we couldn't generate any offense. Okay, we just didn't generate any offense. We didn't have many chances the whole game. This game we generate offense almost every time we stepped on the field. The drives that got stopped, a couple of them were stopped by penalties. We had a couple legal procedure penalties. We had a holding penalty, and then the other drives we stalled when we were in the scoring zone, and we got to be more efficient to finish those drives. You don't have to finish all 5 Saturday. We just need to finish 1 out of 5, and you win the game. So, you outgain a team 380 to 250, and you had way more opportunities than they did. Not way more, but you had more opportunities than they did, and we didn't cash in on those opportunities. So we got to finish those drives. And again, it's frustrating just because you felt like you outplayed them on the road. You did everything you wanted to except for finish drives. If you finish 1 or 2 drives, you win the game, and you feel like it's an incredible, And even down the end, we're probably 5-7 yards away from being in field goal position to win a game. You're that close, even in the end, even with 5 missed opportunities on offense, where you settled for 5 field goals. You're still another 10 yards, another 7 yards, and you're lined up to kick a field goal with the chance to win it. And obviously the holding penalty, and you go backwards. And again, so it was just a very frustrating day. Again, overall, how we played, I like how our team played. I loved how our defense played. Our defense fought and scratched and clawed. Our ST was solid besides 1 bust on a punt protection. Then our offense, like I said, we generate 380 yards, and if we don't have a few self-inflicted wounds, we probably have over 400 yards and get 20 points and win the game. So it wasn't like a day where you watch the tape and say we couldn't move it, we couldn't drive it, we ran the ball some, we threw the ball some, we got some plays down the field. They had 1 chunk play, like the 3rd play of the game, they hit a flag route in a cover 3, which is inexcusable, but that was the only play they had all day of any significance offensively. So again, trying to limit the big plays, we did a very good job that. They dinked it around a little bit, okay, completed some balls, but kept everything in front and stopped the run. So, we had a game plan going on both sides of the ball. I like the game plan. We execute the game plan, but we got to finish drives on offense.
You mentioned finishing the drives. Did they do anything different, Eastern Michigan, when they got their backs against the wall, or does it have anything to do with maybe being able to run between the tackles at that part of the field?
Yeah, they didn't really do any different. They play their quarters, they play their cover 0, they play their man free, and they add on guys, and they disguise very good. That's what they do. They kind of do that all throughout the field. Again, it's the opportunities we had. We had so many different opportunities. It wasn't one thing. Was it not being able to run between the tackles? Was it not protection? Was it not being able to pitch and catch? It was everything. We wasn't like we got down there once and they did something to stop us. We got the ball in their territory. We were in position to score points, and first drive we have a guy in the end zone, and the ball goes through our arms. That's catch that ball, the game's probably win the game. So that was just, hey, we got to pitch and catch better. We got to throw the ball. One time it's protection better. One time we got to run the ball better down there. So again, we had a lot of times where we're moving the ball and feeling like, hey, but you can't move the ball between the 20s and settle for field goals, and that's what we did.
How much of that inability to finish drives has to do with just being on the road in the MAC, I mean, that's always a challenge no matter who you're playing, isn't it?
Yeah, being on the road's always a challenge, and that's, but that you expect, again, I don't know about that has anything to do with being able to finish drives. I think it's hard to win on the road, but again, we moved the ball. Again, we had 380 yards of offense, and we moved the ball effectively. And when we didn't, typically we had, like I said, we had some penalties that slowed some drives and put us in some bad positions. So that you have to clean up. But then the other drives where we didn't have the penalties, I wouldn't attribute to be on the road. I attribute to our execution in those situations, and having that mentality, we got to get the ball in the end zone. The week before we had 4 possessions that we got the ball down there, we scored 4 touchdowns. That's how you got to win games. So
Ivan Pace, he was all over the place Saturday. What could you say about his development and how he's performing at this stage?
yeah, no, again, obviously moving from Will to Mike with McWood going down, obviously hard on him. He played Will his first 2 years here, and then he slides to Mike, and there are certainly similarities, but there's everything. Coverage is totally different. But Ivan has great instincts. He makes a great play, reroutes, he shapes the route, he picks off the ball after they hit the big 33-yard pass play. They try to hurry up, and Ivan ends that drive. And again, he's great instincts in the run game, really good at destroying blockers or avoiding blockers and having a knack to find the football. And him and Salopek were both really good at linebacker. They both were involved in tons of plays that were positives for Miami. So the whole defensive effort was good. We got a good pass rush, but our coverage was really good. We did a really good job in coverage of taking away their first option. Then our down kids were getting home, unlike the week before against Central. Our down kids were getting home in a hurry, and it made it easy. We defended the run good and got them to a lot of third downs, and then our down kids were, we didn't have to blitz them to get. So it was a really strong defensive effort, start to finish. Obviously, you hold a team to 13 points. That's very difficult to do in college football nowadays. If you look at the scores, there's a lot more Kent Buffaloes out there than the Miami Eastern Michigan score.
So can you update us on Gabbert and Bester and some of the other injured players?
Both are getting better. Both are fighting to get ready for this weekend. Obviously, McWood's the only one done. But we won't know. But they both are better yesterday for sure, and doing things like starting to be active, not just standing there watching like they were last week. So I know they're both pushing to get ready, and it's a realistic that they could be ready. It's not, it's not a 10% chance, but I wouldn't put a percentage on that. But they're if they're not going to be ready by this Saturday, they'll both be really close to being ready this Saturday. I mean, it's a realistic. Last week was not, they weren't going to be ready probably. They wanted to be there pushing, but it was this is more of a realistic opportunity for both those kids to play.
What's going on with pass protection, especially at the end? There were a lot of hurries, if not sacks, a lot of hurries through the course of the day. And then at the end, it just looked like they were kind of taking away the short middle, jumping up and batting balls and that sort of thing.
Again, obviously, at the end when they know they can tee off, their ends were doing a good job of getting off on the snap count and getting immediate pressure. And then they always do a good job of, it wasn't just D linemen, their backers add on and mad coverage and do a good job. They're kind of adding on late, and they do a good job of jumping and trying to bat balls down. Obviously, they bat a couple balls down late, which were really nice plays by them. And so we know they do that, and they do a good job, and they made a couple key plays. So again, we're in position, we move, we get a first down, we get a late hit, we're inside their field. The key is don't get the holding penalty. Even if it's incomplete, don't get the holding penalty. Your 2nd and 10, we hit Jack for like 16 yards. If it's not 3rd and 20, it's a first down, and you're inside their 35 and you're in field goal position. So it's like have to continue to clean those up. And sometimes holding penalties are fit. It's not a mental error. It's you're getting beat and you're not trying to let your quarterback get hit. So we gotta make sure we do a good job there.
So what can you tell us about Akron?
Well, they've played 3 Qs. Cato Nelson, who we've seen, kind of started the year as their guy. He got knocked out of a game. They went to the Irons kid, who's 6'5", 210, is like a bigger version of Cato Nelson. Like he's got 300 some yards rushing, and he hasn't played full-time. And then he kind of took over, and he was passing at a 70% clip, and he's 6'5", and he runs all over the place. Ohio State could not keep him in the pocket and corral him, and had a hard time getting him down. So he is a big, strong athlete. And then last week, the Gibson kid came in. Irons wasn't healthy last week. He got, they run a lot of five-man protections. Their quarterbacks have been sacked 30-some times. They're very aggressive with their routes. They get 5 out all the time. So the quarterbacks take a bunch of hits. So Nelson got hurt, missed some time. Then Irons took over. Then Irons got hurt. He didn't dress last week. Then Nelson got hurt right before the half. So then they went to Gibson, who was their starter last year, who we thought had kind of taken over because he had some success last year. But he was bounced back to third. I don't know if he was hurt earlier, if he just got bounced back to third. Well, then he came in and lit up Bowling Green, and he ran and he threw and he made great decisions, and he's a really confident kid. So they're very aggressive in their pass game. Like I said, they get 5 out all the time. They've got multiple good backs that are good MAC backs. They got a bunch of quick receivers. Their skill level is really good. They're young, but their skill level is really good. Defensively, they've kind of settled more this year on 3 down. Last year, they were more varied 3 and 4 down. They've kind of settled in their 3 down so far, which I think has helped them be more consistent. And when you're younger and you're trying to rebuild a program like he's doing, and then you're playing multiple fronts, that's a lot to put on kids' plates. So I think they've settled in, and they have some nice skill guys. Their one kind of leader backer's been out the last couple weeks. I don't know if he's playing or not, but he's a guy that's been one of the better players in the league. So they've been really solid on defense. Obviously, they played some really good opponents early, but they had Temple in a bind, and they had a couple quick turnovers for 6 against Temple. They were up 17-7 on Temple, and they had back-to-back plays where Temple's defense scored. One was a fumble where Cato got hurt on the play and fumbled. And they scooped and scored. And then the next play, they threw a pick 6 on the very next play, kind of turned that game around. And then last week, obviously, they have BG's obviously vastly improved if you look at BG's scores and who they've played. And then BG had them down 13-0, and then Akron took the game over. They could not stop Akron the rest of the game. And Akron's defense forced 5 turnovers. So it was a great win on the road, especially being down 13-0 on the road. So it was a great win. They're going to come in here, obviously, and like we said, they're like most MAC teams. Like, they're younger than most, but they got talented kids, and they can make plays. And offensively, they can definitely. Their quarterbacks are a major concern. All 3 of them are. Whoever plays is a major concern. They all can play.